Alright, welcome back, people. I want to play another game of chess today. My rating's a bit lower. I feel like I was playing too much and I got burnt out. But I took a day off and I'm excited to play a game today. I was doing some studying, not today or the day before, but it's normal to have variations in rating. We're facing e4. I'm going to respond with c5. Knight f3 is the most common refutation, or response, I should say. It's a gateway to many Sicilians. We're getting the open. Opponent playing exceptionally fast. 1997 rated. What is that country? Galicia. Galicia. I think I'm saying that right. I'm not sure what country that is exactly. So I bought a wireless microphone, which is great. Only thing is, it's only compatible with my phone, which I did not know when I purchased it. So I can either get a new microphone, keep this one. I have to record off my phone. It's a slightly different setup. The resolution might be a little bit too high. Now I kind of got lost from the game, but this is the only move I play now. I think white wants to long castle or short castle, depending on what kind of preference they have. Short castling leads to a more drawish game, but black is definitely equal, which is great because we don't have to face any sharp lines. Long castling is more sharp. It's basically move for move calculation. I think for this coming week, the theme of this week will just be deep calculation. Focus on one aspect of chess to improve on. There's no hierarchy in my opinion, but I just want to focus on calculation because it's fun and a vital skill. And the higher rated you are, the more you need to calculate to win, the more it's going to pay dividends. I think, yeah, that's like the most testing move. I've faced this move countless times by now. I think this is the computer's top. We don't want a situation where black can take twice on that square, win the pawn, and simultaneously attack the rook in the end of the line. If you can visualize that line. So we have to take back with the pawn and then supervise the pawn with the queen, not dropping the pawn. Now this pawn's hanging, so if that pawn were not hanging, white would have some initiative, be able to attack this pawn with something like white there. I'm sure white could find a way to pressure this pawn. Like first trying to offer a queen trade, and then going after the pawn with queen e2. So in this kind of a position, it's important to hang on to every piece or pawn, because both the knights have already been traded off, and the closer we get to an endgame, the more valuable each individual component of the position becomes. So I was doing this thing on Lichess. It was like a free analytical. It analyzes your games and tells you your strengths and weaknesses. And my queen accuracy is 15%. It's my weakest piece. So another thing I'm focusing on is finding good squares for my queen. Here, but it blocks in the bishop. So I don't like that. Here, walks into this, but then start to pressure the queen on this diagonal. So thinking here. And we can always slide the queen over here to pressure the king side afterwards. So let's think about what to play. If you could go here, a3, a3 or h4, or a4 and yeah, a3 and h4 are the only two squares. So do I go after this pawn? Let's see. I think I have to take here. If I don't take now, I'll never be able to take again. Bishop g7, reinforcing the king and going to the safest square, eyeing this rook, controlling a lot of important squares on that h8 to a1 diagonal. And I'm expecting rook b4. And with rook b4, I'm thinking we're actually going to walk into a skewer because there's no discoveries with check. And from there, I can bring my queen back to probably d8 to offer a queen trade. Then start looking to control the file. This pawn I might lose. Actually, you know what? If rook b4, I'm going to go queen takes a2. And then probably d5. Well, yeah, the queen is actually very safe here. There's no way to attack the queen right now. Besides, that move looks kind of scary, actually. But I think I can revert to my original idea of walking into a pin. But, okay. Now I'm thinking centralize this queen because it's a very active square, controlling a lot of important squares. The queen is just... But most importantly, it's offering a queen trade. If I can trade queens here, then the inverse of earlier, where I did not want to trade pieces, becomes a factor of me wanting to trade now that I have more. The sum total of my pieces is greater than my opponent's, barring a bunch of trades. But my initial instinct is to go here. This pawn's isolated and will be a permanent weakness. So yeah, I'm thinking bishop f5 followed up with rook d8. There's no checks or discoveries. There's no way for the queen to like get in here. Alternatively, I see bishop f4 or f6, sorry. And then the rook might have to go back here or here. But let's just play it in a more simple manner and put some pressure on that bishop with my queen and my light squared bishop. And what if I play bishop here now? Because this is going to require some deep calculation, which I'm looking forward to. So let's say hypothetically here, here, I guess we have this at the end of the line. But then the queen comes into h6. And this is checkmate in 1, and I have no way of getting out of it. So that I'm going to have to rule out immediately. Oh, what else do I have? I could go here. So bishop f6. And where's the rook going to go after that? I'm just going to go ahead and play it. I think it's a challenge. It'll force my opponent to think and kind of disrupts their flow, their natural attack. And I just want to put pressure on them by making unorthodox moves. That's basically it. Because I don't think it's that obvious how to follow up here. It requires a lot of thinking. And during that time, I can figure out a way to not get checkmated. So let's say he moves the rook, then rook d8. Now this bishop's kind of awkward because it blocks the file from the queen coming in. It's probably gonna have to move somewhere. And if somehow black does or white does get everything they want at the end of the line, I can, let's say there is a check with the queen and rook aligned on the h file. I move the king over one square. This square is covered by my bishop, so there's no more checks. Let's say the queen does check. I bring my bishop back. And then I can try and create a cubby for my king with e6. Play king f8, king e7, and kind of run to the middle of the board. So that's a defensive idea that I might need to extricate myself out of this semi-scary attack. But it's, yeah, as you can see, white has spent over, almost 2 minutes now just trying to deal with this problem. And now we're counterattacking, threatening to take this bishop. My queen, it's very useful that it's protected by the c-pawn. So even if white had two attackers, like let's say white plays rook f to d1 and lines up his queen. Before in the other line, he was threatening his queen and rook on the h file. Now let's say he's threatening his queen on the d file, queen and rook battery against my queen. I could lose the pawn, but still capture and have my queen defended at the end of the line. But now that's not even possible because I've aligned my own queen and rook to prevent to thwart white's one of two of white's most clear and simple attacking ideas. So if white wants to attack, they're gonna have to come up with something more potent. I could also briefly consider e5 here. Or e6 to push c5 and c4. Because I do think I have the luxury with this pin here. Now the queen's only defended by the rook. If this bishop ever were to move, then I would win a full piece. So it's kind of now white's in the danger zone. And let's see what they come up with. Jose, Kobe. What do you got for me, Jose? Spoiler alert, I think he's in a lot of trouble now. He kind of moved his rook around, but it wasn't fulfilling a grand purpose. And now it's just sitting here in no man's land. And with 80 seconds on the clock, he's in time trouble. Like his pieces are kind of blocking each other in there. The bishop's blocking the queen. The rook's blocking the queen. This bishop's in no man's land. He's in the dragon's den now, in the Shark Tank. And it's getting feisty. And yes. I guess I missed one key detail, which is what if I were to go bishop takes bishop? Obviously, white's going to recapture with the rook because it's going to give him the immediate dopamine hit of attacking my queen. But then I can just slide over and I'm forcing a queen trade because if black doesn't trade queens, I'm threatening mate in one two different ways, or mate in two and mate in one. So this seems like the most clear-cut path forward, a forcing defensive move. So yeah, that was basically just some good calculation in chess, using logic and craftiness to shut down my opponent's attack and twist them into a pretzel like jiu-jitsu. So I think I can just play bishop takes bishop. Is there a better move? Not that I can tell, so now I might want to consider going here. Because the bishop's kind of trapped. I think it forces a bishop trade. I mean, I will say white, with the options white was given, he took the two best options for his queen and for the capture. Took his queen to a square where he's x-raying my king, and he took with the pawn to avoid a forcing line. Two misses. Let's run it by Dr. Engine. I'm guessing 100% accuracy in the opening, because I played this so many times by now. Yeah, pure 100 from both of us. And then he got 72, and I got 84 in the middle game. 88.9% accuracy overall. It's like a A-, so I'm pretty happy with my performance. This is my preferred way of playing. Yeah, so dropping the pawn, dropping two pawns. Just a clear, stable, steady advantage, slowly building up. I lose a bit of accuracy in the middle game, because I forgot that this square was covered twice by the rook and the bishop. So I don't think playing e6 did anything. And instead the engine wants to start pushing this passed pawn because this square is covered by my bishop, and that's a very hard threat to parry for anyone. I guess attacking the rook with my queen, abandoning my bishop but threatening mate in one, would have been cooler. Would have been cooler because I'm also threatening bishop e6 to win a material, so yeah. But white was so low on time. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed. I'll be back soon, and ciao.